a man who took the command to shout it out loud and applied it to everything in his life. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get on a choice, but get it on. Gene Simmons back in studio. He's got a tour coming up in Europe this summer. Gene Simmons' band. And Gene, always good to see you, my friend.
It's nice to see you too. I have to say, you're looking either trimmer or what's the answer? Satan or what?
Could be Satan.
Ozempic?
Ozempic. Maybe Satan gave me a shot of Ozempic.
I tried the Ozempic thing and my ass still hurts. See what I did there? That was a joke. You know, I should probably put these on because the sun never sets on planet cool.
He's putting sunglasses on.
Can you please write that one down?
So the sun never sets on planet cool.
Yeah.
I'll commit it to memory.
Who's this guy?
That's Chris.
Hi.
Chris.
Hi.
It's
Mr. Simmons.
nice to see me.
It is.
Gene, I know we've talked at length about your humble beginnings and your Hungarian background and moving to Israel at such a young age and mom not speaking English and selling fruit out in the desert just to make a couple shekels to get by.
And then parting the sea so that the
parting the Red Seas and freeing the Israelites.
Because I'm old. How old are you now?
I am I am going to turn 60 in like a week or something.
I'm 74.
Yeah, you look good though. But
what do you have in mind?
It's clean living with
That's
you,
true.
Right?
No drugs, no alcohol, no booze, never, ever. No smoking.
That's got to be a lot of the longevity of KISS, right? You and your abstinence, sobriety.
Well, that's a big word like gymnasium, but I think the truth and the unfairness of life is you can lead a clean life and still die young, or you can smoke cigarettes and do all this stuff and be 100 years old. So
yes,
genes are part of the thing, but certainly I would say, I don't mean to go off on a tangent, although I love the sound of my own voice. Certainly, you don't want to keep poking the bear.
Yes, that's right. And yes, and no one talks about genes, but whenever they talk to someone, that gene, but whenever they talk about genes, they go, he's 105 years old. And how does he do? And he goes, I start my day with a bottle of wild turkey and a pack of Winston's, unfiltered, and then I eat a cow.
Yeah.
And we go, thanks for the advice.
True. I mean, Warren Buffett gets up every day, go to McDonald's, $3.29 cents, has his Egg McMuffin, Kit Kats, full sugar Coca-Cola every day, and hot dogs and all that every day.
Yeah, and he's not going anywhere. And then there's Jim Fixx.
Well, then there's Keith Richards, who will outlive, and I don't know if you've ever been in the same room with Keith, he will outlive every cockroach on the planet.
Have you been on stage with Keith?
No.
Who did KISS play with, open for? Who opened for KISS, back in the day?
We had a rule, actually, which eventually was, our cherry was taken. Nobody was allowed on stage. Paul and I had this point of view about if we were to see the Beatles, of course, we were delusional. Beatles on steroids was the idea behind the band. Everybody sings lead, everybody's a star kind of thing. I never wanted to see anybody would dare get up on the stage, Zeppelin or the Beatles. You don't want to see anybody else. Guest starring now, Chubby Checker. No, stay off the stage. But eventually, as we neared the end, we had Joe Perry jumped up for a song and wore Paul's boots and almost broke his neck. I think we only had one other person ever during a concert. Otherwise, nobody got on that stage.
And nobody opened for KISS?
Oh, sure, everybody. We took some...
Yeah, that's really what I'm asking.
Oh, I see. Well, we had bands that we gave their very first tour to, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Bon Jovi, Motley Crue. I mean, we could be here all day. Cheap Trick.
I'm reading here Rush, Blue Oyster Cult, Ted Nugent, Sammy
Hagar. Blue Oyster Cult was around before us. Nugent was around before us. But the bands that we gave their first tour to, Bon Jovi, people like that, yeah.
Yeah, I was just watching their documentary. I don't know if you...
Bon Jovi?
Yeah.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. And their whole thing was as though they were going to outdo whoever the act was.
And every band, bless them, should have that point of view, just like every boxer who gets in the ring or every podcaster who does a podcast has the point of view, which is, hey, I respect everybody else, but I'm going to kick some ass.
But could you really outdo Kiss because of all that Kiss was? You know, it seemed like it was more and is. I mean, more than a band. You know what I mean?
Well,
the theatrics, the pyro, the whole thing.
You have to be committed to it. You have to spend a lot more money. Look, it's easier to be the Ramones or, God bless them, the Stones.
Right.
I mean, Mick, bless him, is 80 years old running around on stage, but also he's always worn sneakers and a T-shirt. He didn't have to walk around with 7-inch dragon boots and spit fire and fly through the air, wear 40 pounds of studs, armor, and stuff. So it's a lot harder to be in Kiss than in the Ramones. On the other hand, we were much, much bigger.
Yeah. So Kiss, I mean, when I was growing up in North Hollywood, California.
What do you mean when you were growing up? Well, you were supposed to be the same age, kind of.
I know, but you have 14 and a half years on me. And
for me, that's like last week.
That's all that it was. I was, 13 and you were 27 and Kiss was the biggest. Kiss wasn't just the biggest band. It was the biggest thing.
Yeah. For 3 years in a row, #1 Gallup poll. Of course, 20-year-olds have no idea what Gallup means other than being on a horse and, doing that. But we were bigger popular vote than the Beatles and Zeppelin, all that stuff for 3 years in a row. By the way, did you go to the first Kiss concert alone or with your mom?
I was about to say your mom, but then you'd come and punch me.
I had a joke lined up, but you killed it.
I couldn't go. Sorry, I couldn't go to concerts because I didn't have any money or parents that would drive me or anyone who would buy me a ticket.
So how'd you go?
I didn't. I just listened like everyone else.
Oh, you never went to the concert?
I had friends that had Kiss albums. I couldn't afford
You never
albums.
went to the concert?
I saw you guys.
He's not going to answer.
I will. Eventually at the K-Rock Weenie Rose in Irvine Meadows.
Right.
At some point in like 97 or 98 or something.
96, yeah.
Was it 96?
Something like that.
Yeah, I saw you guys, but that was Kiss, but that wasn't a Kiss concert per se.
No. We couldn't. Our stage set.
That was 96, yeah.
Yeah, our stage set. See, no drugs.
You're right.
No drugs.
I know. Mm-hmm.
No haze, no fog. As a matter of fact, Ace was so out of it that he only showed up at the very last minute. We were going to have Tommy Thayer take his place on stage.
Ace couldn't get his shit together and get to the venue?
Oh, my God, you don't want to hear this. And
I do.
I really care about him, but the fans always get... it's like when your mom and dad, the mom sits the kids down and saying, oh, God, I wish your dad was here, and she goes, no, I better not tell you, because...
Right.
Drugs and alcohol. I could even understand the drugs and alcohol and the cigarette thing. I really could, logically, if it made your schmeckle bigger or if you got richer, better looking, lived longer, healthier, all. But nothing happens. Really, nothing happens.
Well, no, what happens is with the drugs and the alcohol is you don't care if your schmeckle gets bigger. That's what.
Well, that's nice, but if you're delusional like me, you don't care that you're actually not the best looking guy in the world. You believe you are. Delusion is much better. And I think you've got to have that delusional loose screw in your mind to achieve greatness, because how dare you even think of that? I mean, if you think of Tyson, who's a good guy, I've known him for a while, to want to be the world champion, the killer of all time, the most dangerous boxer who ever lived. He's shorter than the rest of the guys. His arms don't reach as long.
Right.
He talks like, he doesn't like it if anybody does that. But if you think about the logic of it, you'd say, there's not a chance that this little kid is ever going to be the most dangerous man, except the will, the delusional will to win. Don't get in the way of those guys. I remember growing up in New York, there was always a little Puerto Rican guy, Boricua, by the way, the original Indians in Puerto Rico, and people used to pick on him, but only for a short time. This guy fearless. He wouldn't care if he had the crap beaten out of him. He would punish the bullies And they kind of say, you know what, I'm going to pick on an easier target because this guy doesn't care if you want. Never pick a fight with somebody who doesn't care if he gets hurt. Those are the killers. Those are the winners.
Well, where did you get that mentality? Because, no, I completely agree with you, whether it's heavyweight champ of the world or the biggest band in the world or president of the United States. Where I come from, and me personally, I would never even dream of thinking that I could be a part or anywhere near something like that. How was that infused
I think
upon you?
I had an advantage. My mother, who was a survivor of Germany's Nazi concentration camps that, killed not just Jews, but Catholics, gays, gypsies, anybody who was unapproved by the Nazi regime. And she was 14 years of age at the time. So the fact that my mother survived, much less survive a broken home, because my father left us when I was about 7 years of age. And she raised me all by herself. I had the advantage of being an only child. And so my mother was my moral compass, and I learned the value of every day above ground is a good day. Sounds corny, like a motto of a product, but actually it would be a good motto for everybody, which is every day that we get up and we complain about the traffic jam or the guy that flips you off on the highway, that's nothing. Go to Ukraine, go to the Middle East, go anywhere where there's problems. Our problems are nothing. So from my mother's point of view, I understood the value of hard work, and then the rest is luck and all that stuff. So if you have health, I know this sounds so corny especially if you're 20 years old and you think you know it all, and you still have your chair, you think, what is he talking about? It's not cool. Let's all get high and do that. It'll take time. All the guys that used, especially the guys in bands, and I knew them all. I saw the entire journey. When they come up for air, they go, what a fucking idiot. Am I allowed to say fucking?
Yeah.
Fornicating under the crown of the king. And all that.
Yeah. Kiss was...
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah, but it was knights and Satan's service.
That came naturally from
That was a thing when I was in junior high.
Yeah. Because Satan is the answer, Carolla. No. Don't. Of course, somebody's going to take that soundbite and put it up there. T-shirts are going to come out. Gene Simmons, no.
But I remember being in Michael Dacey's mom's apartment when I was like 14, and he was telling me what Kiss...
What do you mean, mom's apartment?
His mom, everyone I knew lived in an apartment, so I don't want to say his apartment. She's still around? I have no idea.
What's his mom's name?
I have no idea. All I say is...
You killed my joke.
I don't want to say his apartment. Sorry. I'm sorry. I keep killing mom jokes. All right. So
your mom's still around? Everything?
No, my mom died 2 years ago, I found out.
Passed away.
Passed away. I think she may have died. I don't know. Or passed away.
No comment.
Yeah. Your mom, you're deeply in love with your mom.
Everything I am, I owe to my mother, and a good piece of advice for everybody is don't wait for your mom to pass. Take the time. Kiss her, love her, tell her every day.
Your mom was around long enough, though, to see...
94 years of age.
So she saw all the success.
From the beginning all the way to the thing, and with her broken English, she would ask me, how is the orchestra? Mom, it's a band. That's right.
Yeah, you both have stories about, Adam had a Hungarian grandfather, and your Hungarian...
I speak fluent Hungarian.
Mother.
Laszlo Gorag.
And Adam has a great story about...
What?
Oh. Laszlo Gorag. Sorry, go ahead.
Laszlo, that's Lajos, which is like Larry in English.
Yeah, It was a Larry. He had a Bela, his brother. He had...
like Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, they had Bougie was his sister.
Bougie is kind of a nickname.
Yeah, Bougie. And her son was named Gabi.
Gabi, yeah.
Yeah, these are all...
Hungarian arts like Gabriella, coming from Gabriel, the Jewish thing and all that.
But what were you saying?
Oh, so I know you both have stories about showing your Hungarian mother and your Hungarian grandfather, how successful your careers have gotten. Showing them the big check. Gene's may have been a little bit bigger than Adam's, but
yes.
But just trying and their response was a little.
Yeah, my grandfather was not impressed.
Why?
Maybe he'd just been corrupted by my family. I'm
afraid to ask.
My family were, I call them down rounders. Everything was just like, yeah, okay. Everything was, I mean, I have some colossal, stupendous stories.
What did the family do that they...
They would say things like, "Oh, I'll give you a couple of good ones." Oh, Bon Jovi. That reminded me. I was watching the doc. That's my grandmother's finest moment, and my mom's finest moment. Is
She did Bon Jovi?
we were. I don't know. She didn't, but we were sitting around eating Thai food at somebody's birthday.
Yeah.
And like my mom, we would go out to dinner once a year for somebody's birthday, and my mom. Looked at everyone at the table, which is her mom and probably Laszlo Gorog and me and her husband, not my dad, but her second husband. And she said at some point to the table, I got another flyer in the mail trying to convince me to sign up for cable. Now, again, $18 a month was a king's ransom to, Chris Carolla. So she goes, can anyone at this table give me one good reason why I should get basic cable? Now, at that time, I had 2 shows on basic cable. I had the Man Show hour once a week, and then I
watched it.
I had Loveline every night on MTV. So I was on MTV and Comedy Central simultaneously. So somebody at that table had 2 shows on cable, but she said, can anyone here give me one good reason why I should get cable? And everyone just looked down and let it pass. So that's kind of how my family rolled. My grandfather was,
What did he do?
He was a writer. He wrote The Mole People and
No.
Yes.
You mean the fabled mole people?
The fabled sci-fi 50s.
Of course, I watched it many times. I'm such a fan of those movies. He wrote it?
He wrote The Mole People.
You just got an authentic cool card.
Thank you.
The Mole People, fantastic. You see these guys with rubber masks, they cover them with dirt, and you see coming out of the dirt. And as an 18-year-old kid, I'm going, oh, because they're underground. The Mole People.
He was a writer.
That was not the full title. I think it was called...
Well, I don't know. We can find the posters up here somewhere. But he fled Hungary because of the Germans and then, came here.
So before World War II.
Well, I never really got the full story other than
because there was another...
He knew which way the wind was blowing.
Yeah.
He was getting it. Like, he was looking around going, I'm Jewish. I'm in Hungary. I don't think I'm going to hang out and see what happens. I can see where this is going.
By the way, Carolla does not sound very Hungarian or
Not
Jewish.
at all. He's steppe. He's not. I have no blood with him. I have his culture because he grew up cooking chicken paprikash.
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 Chicken paprika and all that.
Yeah, and no kettle and
no kedli, which
no
is like,
kedli and goulash and
noodle like.
Yeah, I still make it. It's the best.
Wait a minute.
Yes,
I'm not gay, but
yeah,
are you a
could
good
come
cook?
over and okay. Here's what happened. I started longing for Hungarian food so badly when I was older. And there's no Hungarian places in this entire Los Angeles.
In New York, there was Csardas, which was world class. But yes, go ahead.
There was a place called Laszlo's Hortobágy on Ventura Boulevard that used to be there. But it's 1 million Indian food places and 1 million Thai food places and 1 million sushi places. We're lousy with all this stuff. Not one goddamn Hungarian food place in this entire city. So I told my nanny, not my nanny, but my kid's nanny, I said, listen, you're going to figure out how to cook Hungarian because we're making chicken paprikash with no kettle. And we figured it all out. He would call it dumplings or whatever. It is the best. It is the best. The goulash is the best. All the Hungarian food he made, that was my childhood because my mom didn't cook and my dad didn't cook and we didn't go out to eat. So the only time I got a real meal was over at Laszlo's house when he would cook Hungarian, and I loved it and I crave it. I can't even talk about it anymore. My mouth starts watering.
And what's for dessert after that?
Bougie would oftentimes bring over like a sour cherry pastry. They do like cherries and pastry and pastries.
When is the next time you're cooking?
I will let you know, Gene, because I meticulously went over the chicken paprikash. I even got the grater to make the no kettle, where you pour the mix into it and it's a hopper and you slide it over the boiling water and you make it fresh. It is the best. My kids love it. Everybody I forced to eat it loves it. It's the best.
I'll make a deal with you. I'm a good deal maker.
All right.
Next time you do a full Hungarian thing, especially with dessert, because I'm a dessert guy, if I'm invited, I promise to show up, ingest it orally, and I promise I'll swallow.
Oh, you swallow. Good. Because I hate it when they walk into the bathroom.
Well, you don't just want to chew and spit it out.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
See what I did there? That was another joke. Another one.
So we both have the Hungarian background, is what I'm saying.
I was going to say I've got the Hungarian in me, but people might misunderstand.
Well,
that was another one.
He liked his sausage as well. Speaking of,
all right, settle down. Don't get it.
You
know your heart. So you can't speak Hungarian at all.
All I can say is the stupid limerick he taught me when I was about 9 about a priest with a priestly wooden pipe.
Of course. All right, how's it sound?
A neophyte pupnuk, puppy file von, neophyte puppy peepa, puppy fuppy pa. That's all I remember.
Well, the accent is so warped that
I
you
know.
can barely... Say it again?
A neophyte pupnuk, a puppy file von...
Von is I have, yeah.
I have a neophyte puppy peepa, puppy fuppy
Mi az
pa.
neofy? Anyukám beszélt magyarul, de nem értem mi az neofy.
Yeah, see, this is what my grandfather would do when they were discussing Christmas presents. And we'd just be sitting at the table, and he'd talk to his sister about our Christmas presents, but just in Hungarian.
Yeah, my family did that.
So we'd never know what the fuck. They spoke Hungarian?
Yes.
I'd never know what the fuck they were talking about. They knew it, and they liked it.
And where are you from? I mean, the lineage.
Filipino.
Yeah, it's good to have a second language.
Mindanao or one of the other 1,000 islands?
Manila. Manalan is the...
Manila. But that's just a place where everybody went to, because as you know, the different islands were always killing each other. People think of the Philippines as one place. No, it's not. They were tribal. They'd be beheading everybody. So Mindanao, which was in the southern part, would kill. And then the Spanish came and raped and pillaged everybody, which is why there are a lot of Gomez and Lopez and all that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Didn't know that. You know your history.
This is what I'm here for. So that's what I'm here for. And by the way, Hungarian curses are hilarious. I'm going to give you some right now. Children, plug up your ears. Asta kutyafáját. That means, oh, that dog's particular pain. That's what it, literal translation. Asta Christus lova. That's Christ's horse over there.
Wow.
That's what it means. Asta anyadistenit. Oh, that must be your mother's God. It's somehow poetic.
Jeez, this is a family show, Gene.
Nagyon csúnya, nem csúnya vagy. That's like, it means it's not dirty in the least. Csúnya.
Those are some mild curse words.
Yeah,
well,
except
during a time when you wanted to insult someone, you'd say, "I said good day." You'd yell at them to have
That's
a better
worst thing
day.
you could say, yeah.
Yeah, that was considered
well,
an insult.
in the South, they have somewhat of that culture. Bless your little heart. That means go and die a quick death in the corner, you bastard. That's what it means. Bless your little heart.
Still said.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that.
A fuppy peepa.
Nem tudom mi az puppy. Nem hallottam. Like, what the hell is puppy?
The priest of Bafa has a wooden pipe, so the priestly pipe of Abafa is a priestly wooden pipe.
What is Abafa? Does that sound like a former president?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if that guy was born here or not. Or
Hawaii.
in Abafa.
Hawaii.
But either way, that's what my grandfather taught me. Huh. But he was also a down rounder. Because he was Jewish, and I think he thought, it's kind of like, don't get over your skis. Like, don't get too big for your britches.
That is true.
You know what I mean?
Part of if you come from nothing, there's that sense of, now, of course, two Jews talking is a never-ending conversation because nobody ever says anything. There's just questions. How are you? How am I? How should I be? Who wants to know? Why are you asking? It just goes on, and they rock back and forth.
Well, my grandfather was very old, and at the very end, and he thought I was a carpenter who drove
of course, and then you died for the sins of mankind. Of course you did.
He thought I was.
By the way, how did you know? Do you ever wonder how? Well, specifically, why it is that all the chicks love Jesus? Well, he's hung like this.
That's good. All right, that's good.
No, don't do that. She's just. Terry just said, "Don't do that."
I also say that they say prostitution is the oldest profession, but
it is.
I think carpentry is, because someone had to build that first whorehouse.
That's a good joke, but actually, I wrote a book called "Ladies in Waiting" about the oldest profession, and it is.
It is.
Yeah, before language, before culture, before anything, mankind, because it used to be called that before transkind and ad infinitum ad nauseum, we used to roam the plains of Africa as Australopithecines. Australopithecus africanus, that changed to Australopithecus afarensis. That was discovered in what was then known as the Olduvai Gorge by Elis Leakey in Tanganyika, a 3'6" inch hominid, semi-biped. But we used to go and look around for caves to protect from the elements and all this kind of stuff. The male of the species, without question, without anything, had to go and follow the herds and kill what they could. That's why we have gangs, because we went around. One guy couldn't be very effective. The females stayed in the caves because they couldn't compete with the males. They'd get killed. And by the way, the predators would smell the blood once a month. So in those early days, sorry, ladies, the females were useless. It was like, please, predators come in from miles around. So they'd stay hidden in the caves and give birth. Some can argue that we haven't evolved very far from there. So the oldest profession was that alpha female says, I'll give you some of this for, respectfully, that meat on your shoulder that you just fought life and death for. And the alpha female would exchange sexual favors for that. And it goes to the heart of the question. Two guys are talking, and I say, I've got a blind date for you. You would say, what does she look like? Same age-old thing. And two girls are talking, I've got a blind date for you. What does he do?
Right.
Nothing's changed.
No, I agree. We like to think it has.
No.
But it really
hasn't. Still the primordial. We still have a prehensile tail. We still have adrenaline and testosterone, most of us.
Yeah, we just don't know what to do with it.
Oh, I do.
Oh, you do? You've channeled your testosterone and your adrenaline.
More. See this? See this?
A wedding ring, yeah.
A wedding ring.
Yeah. In brightest day and blackest night, no evil. Because I've been to the dark side. Oh, you don't know.
Oh, let's hear about it.
No. Those were the days, my friend. Mary Hopkin, by the way, produced by Paul McCartney.
That song?
Yes. Don't test me.
Listen.
You don't want to go to the heights of Mount Olympus. No, the air's thin up there.
I know you know your music, by the way.
Other stuff, history. I was a sixth grade teacher. I know stuff.
Yeah, because I remember one of the times you came in here, we got on to Gene McDaniels.
No, that's right.
And we started singing Gene McDaniels songs.
And Clyde McPhatter and all those guys. I just listened to If I Were the Tower of Love. Yeah.
Strength.
You're right. That's it.
I don't love you.
I don't need you. I don't want you anymore. When I walk out the bump, 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 bump. When you walk out to me, bump, 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 bump. If you run into me.
But a tower of strength is something.
And he did that. And when I was a kid, I went, that's the coolest. It's like James Brown at the beginning of I Feel Good. Wow! You ever see that on TikTok?
Find Tower of Strength just because it's so
great.
You know what's great about Tower of Strength? And it's Gene McDaniels. And he also has 100 Pounds of Clay.
Oh, great
song. But the trombone, even though it's an instrument and it's a brass instrument that's being played in the song, feels like what he's feeling.
Yep.
It's like it feels like shucks, I lost again. Like that's what the trombone sounds like in that song.
It's the womp womp.
Unheralded are the people, and there he is. And by the way, Clyde McPhatter for a while was in the Drifters, lead singer.
I'm trying to think of what his song was that I know.
Clyde McPhatter?
Yeah. We'll think. I know it, but I'll think of it.
A lot of these guys had one or two hits and then gone.
Right.
Chuck Jackson, J.J. Jackson, all those guys. Great songs. Unheralded are the writers, the Brill Building, almost all without exception, Jewish, of course.
Yes.
And the arrangers and the record company.
The arrangement on, well, let's play a minute of it. I don't know. The arrangement is amazing on this song, too.
That's so great. And he walks off into the sunset with that music.
That's so good. Yeah, the arrangements.
That's all. Those guys all came from big bands, jazz. They weren't rock. It wasn't about rock. Who uses trombones in rock?
No, I love it when, I was just talking about Jethro Tull yesterday, and I was just thinking about him rocking a flute.
Yeah.
While he's singing.
Well, flutes were very, very popular. It was the lead instrument in the Trog's Wild Thing.
It was?
Yes, it was. And Chip Taylor, John Voight, who's a friend of mine, John Voight's brother, Chip Taylor, wrote that song. He could barely play guitar, and he knew 3 chords, and he didn't have a melody, so he started talking. Wild Thing. I'll get the melody later. You make my heart sing. Okay, I don't have a B part. Bum, 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 bum. Wild Thing.
You make everything groovy.
You make everything groovy.
Wow.
Wild Thing. Yeah, it's not even a melody. You're just talking before rap. And then they asked him, you got to write another one of these, but he only knew 3 chords. So he wrote Angel in the Morning, same chords. Just call me Angel. It's 1, 4, 5 chords.
Really?
A, D, E. Yeah.
Oh, he wrote Wild Thing and Just Call Me Angel?
How crazy is that?
Because they're two of
completely
songs
different.
Could not be further
That's
apart.
Right.
Just Call Me Angel
Merrily Rush
is a beautiful, beautiful ballad.
But lyrically, you got to think of the brilliance of Wild Thing in the days when you couldn't talk to a girl like that.
Right.
No, you wouldn't say you're a Wild Thing. Just like Patsy Cline, no relation to Gene Cline, there's a different spelling. Crazy by Willie Nelson. He wrote that. You didn't, in country, you didn't say the word crazy. That was a little shaky.
Yeah.
And she just loved it. And the first line.
What are your crazy?
Yeah,
crazy.
By the way, there's a pregnant pause. The brilliant songs of all time have the title. Lennon McCartney, the brilliance of them. I got a song. What is it called? It's called Yesterday. How does it go? Yesterday. Then there's a pause. Right. Then the rest of the song goes. You got another one. It's called Michelle. How does it go? Michelle. Then there's a pause. Charlie Chaplin wrote a classic song. People don't. Yes, it goes. Smile. Pause. Well, your heart is aching. Smile.
Oh, that's Charlie
pause.
Chaplin wrote that?
Chaplin.
What are your favorites? What are some of your from?
I like some of my songs.
Yeah. There's the Kiss catalog. I'll fill in a few. I'll give you. I'm just going to buy you time. Okay, for me, for sort of all time, because you like arrangements. And I like arrangements.
The hardest thing to do is to do a simple song. It's easier to be in a prog band, really, because you're not playing the game of memorable. You're playing the game like jazz of showing off. You don't expect somebody to walk out of a jazz concert humming. You don't expect that. So the hardest thing to do, and you have to respect the art of it, if it's a Bruno Mars tune or, whoever, is that hearing it once and the melody, especially the chorus, sticks. And the art of that, it just happens. Like all these musicians, the Beatles and whoever you like, Lennon, Jagger, Richards, can't read a stick of music.
Really?
I can't read or write music.
Really?
Nobody could. Hendrix couldn't read or write music. No. You just do it. It's like being able to write a book in another language, although you can't read or write in another language because it's verbal.
We should hear 100 Pounds of Clay as long as we're here by Gene McDaniels, because the arrangements were amazing. But who are some of your unsung rock band heroes?
Well, I came to America before the Beatles and before I was 1958. I must have been 8. Actually, I was 8 before I was 9. See what I just did there? That was another joke. You gave me the clap. Thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You gave me the clap. Yeah. So the first music I heard was Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and ironically, I wound up being the guy who did the eulogy at Chuck Berry's funeral.
Oh, you did?
Heartbreaking. Yeah, the family asked me. I happened to be there. You can YouTube it and all that stuff. But if it weren't for those guys, there'd be no Beatles, Stones, or any of that stuff. They were the cornerstone. Black American music was the cornerstone of the British invasion, Led Zeppelin, all that stuff. So the music, even before I could speak English, because that was my 3rd or 4th language, I remember hearing, early Jackie Wilson, Little Richard, that stuff, and my body moving in ways that white music just didn't make me move. Specifically the lower regions, like black music is about the hip and the butt, and you just sort of feel it down there. And Pat Boone, who was on Imperial Records, he
was just in here, by the way.
Yeah, and he's great. So he was on the same label as Fats Domino and Little Richard. So in those days they were called Race Records, and
really?
he would do the white versions and the hits of Little Richard songs. Yeah.
I
found my thrill on Blueberry Hill. Very white bread.
It's a great... Oh, we'll listen to 40 seconds of 100 Pounds of Clay just because I know you're going to like it. But I love the arrangements. Also, it's a sort of a biblical reference as well.
In other words, women.
He made women.
100 pounds of clay. Women. Yeah, that's a popular thing
He's
today.
going to need more clay by today's standards.
I have no comment. More clay.
Hey, well, if he's making Lizzo, he's going to need a few sacks of clay.
I have no comment, sir.
Okay. Go ahead. Play it. All right. Here's speaking back to the old and the black, and I'm not even sure exactly who sung this one. Sang this one. Stagger Lee.
Don't stop. Lloyd Price. Don't mess with me.
I won't. You're so good. You know Stagger Lee?
I don't.
Stagger Lee, it's about a guy who shot a lot of the early songs, including Hey Joe, written by Dino Valenti, that he sold for $50 when he came out of jail to somebody, so the publishing was all gone. He needed money to pay. So it was recorded by The Seeds, by Jimi Hendrix, by Hey Joe, where you going to? Shot My Baby, and Neil Young. Down by the river, I shot my baby. There used to be lots of songs where the lover would shoot his girlfriend. And Stagger Lee, likewise, he shot.
He shot someone, but I think he got cheated in a card game.
Well, that's another point. He did shoot somebody.
All right, well, listen to a little Lloyd Price, just for those who've never heard him before. Gene, what do you think of this concept? We cannot reproduce, you're talking about Mike Tyson, but back in the days when they'd have those fights in the 30s and the 40s, they were black and white, the photographs, and everyone was smoking a cigar. So there's a haze above the ring. It's black and white.
It looked better. I don't like things that are too real. Doris Day used to have a cheese lens on the lens because she didn't want people to see the lines on her face. It's actually, they rubbed a little butter or something on the lens, so she always looked radiant.
Yeah, so
analog filter.
We can never. So we can't recreate those fight photos from the 30s or the 40s because we don't allow people to smoke in the arena, and it's shot in color.
I think they should be allowed to kill themselves if they want to.
I agree. It made for much better photographs. The photographs
do it for the photos.
The photos from the 40s and the 50s of those fights are black and white. They're amazing,
gorgeous.
Haze. But with music. This is 1958. There's a kind of rawness to it. You know what I mean?
Sure. This is before technology gave you the option of having too many technological things. In the days when I used to go out with Diana Ross, she took me to Motown, the original house. It was a 2-story, single-family house that Berry Gordy took over, Tamla and Gordy and Motown. They were all housed there. And we walk into a room, I will tell you, no exaggeration, this studio, this massive studio that you've got here, is probably a little bigger than the recording studio where literally hundreds of hits came out of Hitsville. Little miniature drum set in the corner, a small upright piano over there, microphones with baffles and stuff, and it was all done on 4-track with RCA pods, so you couldn't even go between, like how loud 4 is to 5. You'd have to go between 4 and then click to 5 instead of just, nudging it up a little bit. And what they did, Sgt. Pepper was recorded on 2 4-track machines. They'd fill up a 4-track, bounce it to the other 4 tracks. Now we have unlimited tracks. It's astonishing. And some of the best and biggest and most memorable Georgia on My Mind, that's live in the studio. The big bands, Sinatra, Nat King Cole, they set up microphones and a full orchestra, and they recorded live with the singer singing with the band.
Yeah, so are we ever going to be able to recapture that? Because maybe just like the photography at the fights, the technology has destroyed that forever. Like this song, staggeringly, has a rawness and a visceral sort of roughness to it, but it's enjoyable. Like it's just a little...
For my ears and your ears, yes. I believe that younger generation has been trained. Well, here's the thing. You can take some of the biggest hits of all time, that includes the Beatles, Motown, all this stuff, and if you put a metronome, like a tick-tock kind of a thing that keeps track of the time, it wanders. It's not all in time, especially Beach Boys could start off in a time, and by the end of the song, it actually it's meter-wise wrong.
Right.
And you can hear them singing a little bit out of tune and all that stuff, but it's cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Do you have let's do favorite Beach Boys song.
Probably God Only Knows.
All right. That's good.
I have tapes of Brian Wilson, cassettes that the vast majority of people don't have, where he's doing bits of songs in one studio. Then he goes to the chorus in another studio with different musicians, and the bridge someplace else, and some of these versions have horns and some not, some keyboards, different harmony blends and all that, and they literally cut the songs together. You cut the tape. I was part of that generation where you take a razor blade, you cut the master tape, which is 2 inches wide, and you cut those things and put Scotch tape around it. And when you hear Good Vibrations, that's in 3 or 4 different studios comprising of innumerable tapes. The very last version was after the song was done, and you hear the theremin, that thing. That was done as an afterthought at the end. It's just phenomenal how they did that with limited technological. Nowadays, you can't write or reproduce that thing. It's genius.
I'm going to go Don't Worry, Baby. You know that
Great.
one?
Yeah.
Sorry for insulting you, Gene.
Why would you ever insult me when I don't care?
It's a good point. But I just mean the fact that I asked you if you knew a Beach Boys song. To me, that's their... they have so many good ones, but that's
well, I'm in good company with God Only Knows because that's McCartney's favorite.
Oh, really?
I win.
His McCartney's favorite Beach Boys song or just best?
It was Pet Sounds in particular and McCartney in particular, but the Beach Boys as well. When they heard that, they were just like, hey, we got to get back to the book because this stuff is a notch above. And that's where Sgt. Pepper came from.
All right. Well,
do you know that the story behind Sgt. Pepper?
No, tell me.
No, Gene, and I don't really care. So McCartney's on a flight with, I think it was Mal Evans, one of their guys, and they're having a conversation, and the comment was something about salt and pepper, like pass the salt and pepper. And McCartney thought he said Sgt. Pepper. He goes, Sgt. Pepper? What's that? And that's where the germ of the idea came from. No joke.
No,
and he said, how about if we are not the Beatles on the next record, create a fictional band called Sgt. Pepper. It's brilliant. And we'll have Billy Shears as a lead singer. And they sat down and wrote, what would you do if I sang out of tune? Billy Shears.
Right.
All that with Ringo. It's genius.
I didn't even know who Billy Shears was.
It was made up.
Oh, okay, good. Because I thought I'd dropped the ball.
No. And they don't make him like that. How about if you come from a place in England, not London or Manchester, no. You come from Liverpool.
Yeah.
These 4 guys with no resume, no experience, no nothing, who wrote hundreds of songs. There is such a thing as a singularity in science, they call it. Why these 4 guys in the middle of nowhere were able to come up with stuff, there's just no explanation for it. That's the end of my tirade. I don't want to get too tirade here. That's another joke.
Well, now we'll hear 30 Seconds of God Only Knows, just so we feel good about ourselves.
Yeah, that's a compilation. There ain't no Sounds of Summer. Get out of here. That's Capitol trying to make a few extra bucks. See, the very best of the Beach Boys. Pet Sounds was the album. They don't make him like that. You ever hear that phrase? No.
When's the last time you spoke to Brian Wilson?
We used to eat in the same deli. Tragically, I don't think he's as healthy as he was before, but always been a sweet guy. You could just walk up to him, even though living legend and all that, and say, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, glad to see you," kind of a thing. People are shocked. I've been in the presence of the Dalai Lama and all kinds of people. Your heart would stop. And it's shocking that the greatest of the greats, also have to poop just like you do. Just regular folks.
Yeah.
You're just awed by the huge shadow they cast.
No,
Yeah, like me, Adam.
Yeah, you got to poop.
No, I cast a huge shadow.
About 40 minutes.
For myself when nobody's looking.
Yeah. Cast a big shadow on that toilet bowl.
All right, settle down. Don't get excited. You know your heart.
I just love how much you know about music.
Is he allowed to talk?
No.
We could try sociology, history.
I will say this.
Anthropology.
I always looked at Kiss as an event.
Yeah.
I never really thought of musicianship in a band. I just thought Kiss was Kiss.
Yeah.
And so I never thought about music in Kiss. I just thought about big hits, big songs, big theatrics.
Well, size does count.
Breaking down songs with you and knowing your musicality, it's very interesting to me.
Well, I believe that in the same way that strippers don't walk out naked, the last thing you want to do is to have the public know too much about you, so that when you really try to do something really simple and bombastic, you don't want them to know that you know all this other stuff, because the mind or the imagination of those less qualified to understand would say, well, why are you only using 3 chords? That's called country. It's 3 chords and a story. So again, some of the biggest songs the Beatles ever wrote, maybe the masters of them all, only had 3 chords. My love don't give me presents. She's a woman. 3 chords.
What's one of the better bass songs, or who are your bass heroes?
One of the there are bass instruments, and then there are songs based around bass riffs.
Right.
One of the classic all-time things is, once the bass notes start, it never ends. Most songs have a bridge, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, and all these various parts that build a classic. Hit the Road Jack has none of those. It goes bum, 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 bum,
right.
bum, bum, bum. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come. It never stops. It never stops. Never stops. Never changes keys. Nothing ever happens. And yet, with the way the melody is, Ray Charles, the great Ray Charles, and the Raelettes, as they were called, various girlfriends, depending which part of the week it was. Mm-hmm. The genius of that song is how they were able, it's Ray Charles, to never have no introduction. It starts right away with bum, bum, bum. And there were other songs not on that level. Sunshine of Your Love. Bum, 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 ba-da-da. You remember the riff more than the song.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
And the biggest riff of all time, you remember the riff, not the song, which is Smoke on the Water. Bam, 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 bam. You don't remember the song as much, but But Hit the Road Jack, bum, bum, you remember the song. Hit the road. You remember the melody, the riff, and the song.
Midnight Confession had a good
Grassroots.
Had a good bass.
Yeah.
Lick.
You're supposed to be impressed that I know it's the Grassroots.
It is. Well, I'm not. I'm done being impressed by you because you know everything.
Let's play everything.
Everything. I think the bass song, I love John Entwistle, and I love the Real Me by The Who, and I love his bass. I love his bass in that song, and I heard he just played whatever he wanted and thought he was screwing around, and then they said, we're going to keep that take, but maybe you know.
Well, Townsend kept a tight hold on them because they were his songs. So within the confines of his song structure, Entwistle, but the real loose cannon was Keith Moon, who just played, his gut out. I will tell you one of the most, at least for me, iconic moments of my life. Jimmy Page, who's, for those of you who are 20 years old, the guy created, invented more riffs than any other person on the planet. Led Zeppelin. Every just more riffs than anybody. And then every song was like that. So he came to see us quite a few times, and we became, friendly. And I introduced Nick to him, who was so awed he started crying in front of Page.
Wow!
Jimmy, say hello to my son Nick. Oh, how are you? Oh, he's crying his heart out. Didn't know what to say. Of course, Nick is going to torture me now because I'm embarrassing him. So. Page came to see us the first time when we played Wembley. He came to see us some other times when we were there. And he came up to me after the show, my hand to God, and said, without doing an English accent, he says, mate, you can give Entwistle a run for his money. And I was just about ready to pass out.
Wow.
That's not true, of course, but the fact that he would even say that.
That's the highest compliment of a bass player.
For me, forget about it. The only higher one might be McCartney coming over and saying, you're doing a good job, because nobody played bass the way McCartney did, because you can hear a song and remember the bass parts that McCartney played. Mm-hmm. Taxman, boom, 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 boom. You remember the bass part,
right? And his bass didn't look like everyone else's bass.
No, it was a Hofner, not the highest quality thing, but a secret about McCartney is, because they were only using 4 tracks in the beginning, is he would record the bass last. Mm-hmm. And direct without an amplifier, or if there was an amplifier, very low level, so you could hear it. Otherwise, the track would take up all the sonics.
Wow. All right. We shall continue. Gene Simmons here. Gene Simmons Band doing a full European schedule this summer. Tickets at genesimmons.com. There's so much to get into with this man. We'll take a quick break.
I don't think you can get tickets, but...
You don't? They're all sold out?
Yeah.
All right.
Festivals and all that. But hey, try. Go to genesimmons.com because I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, Moneybag Vodka, too.
Oh, yeah, right.
And Moneybag Wine just debuted in Europe, and we have Moneybag Sodas. Go to moneybagsodas.com or go to moneybagvodka.com.
We'll take a quick break. Come right back with Gene right after this. Simply Safe when you travel. Do concerns back home nag you? Did you lock up? Leave a window open? I recommend Simply Safe Home Security, award-winning security and peace of mind wherever your summer plans take you. We've always used Simply Safe. Peel and stick. Batteries last up to 10 years. Don't have to pull wires, drill holes. And it's given me and my listeners a lot of peace of mind over the years. And I want to give that to you. Whole home protection, a variety of indoor and outdoor cameras, plus sensors to detect break-ins, fires, floods, and more. Good company, great people. And like I said, you put your system up. If you got to move, you take it with you. You can't do that if it's hardwired. Right now, get 20% off any Simply Safe system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/Adam. That's simplysafe.com/Adam. 2 I's in there. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Meter, Father's Day just around the corner, and I know the perfect gift. That's right. He doesn't even know he needs it, but he does. Meter, sleek, smart meat thermometer that guarantees the perfect cook every time. Grilling steaks, roasting a chicken, or smoking a brisket. He'll never under or overcook dinner again. Yeah, there's nothing worse, especially when you're doing chicken or pork and you're trying to cook it. You end up gets all dry because you're scared because you don't want to undercook it. No, that's where Meter comes in. Use in a grill, a smoker, oven, air fryer, rotisserie, wherever Meter works. Monitor your food, and you can do it in the app. Then you relax and have yourself a little Arnold Palmer while Meter watches your food. You can go on a beer run. You can go in the house, watch a little of the game. Perfect gift for dad in your life to level up his barbecue game. It's Meter, right, Dawson?
Shop now on Meter.com for Father's Day specials, including the newest products. Barbecue season is coming up. Get dad grilling and shop at meater.com.
Well, doesn't it seem like every week there's a major leak of customer info from phone or healthcare or other companies? That's right. People are getting all your information these days. I mean, they ain't breaking into your home anymore. They're getting your info. Well, that's where Aura comes in. All-in-one online safety solution helps protect your information about you, your family, and it stops it from being sold to data brokers. Data brokers are legally required to remove your personal information if you ask, but they make it difficult and time-consuming. Aura does the work for you. Aura also helps reduce annoying robocalls, telemarketers, and junk mail by sending takedown requests on your behalf. Plus, Aura monitors for identity theft before it happens and scans the dark web for your email addresses, passwords, social security number, and other sensitive information. So protect yourself with Aura, right, Dawson?
For a limited time, Aura is offering our listeners a 14-day trial plus a free check of your data to see if your personal information has been leaked online, all for free, while you visit aura.com/trust. That's aura.com/trust to sign up for a 14-day free trial and start protecting you and your loved ones. aura.com/trust. Certain terms apply. Be sure to check the site for details. The Adam Carolla Show presents Gene Simmons' birthday cocktail party for August 25th. Let's see who's invited. Here's the Mad King of Bavaria, Ludwig II. Here's Grammy, Emmy, and Tony Award-winning conductor, Leonard Bernstein. Former governor of Alabama, George Wallace, is here. Game show host Monty Hall just walked in. Bond, James Bond, Sean Connery just entered the building. Regis Philbin is here. So's Tom Skerritt. Singer for the OJs, Walter Williams. Baseball's most famous mustache, Raleigh Fingers, is here. The guitarist and singer from The Outlaws, Henry Paul, just walked in. From Judas Priest, it's Rob Halford. Elvis Costello just walked in. Tim Burton is here. Let's welcome Billy Ray Cyrus. Michael Cohen took a break from testifying, and he's at the party. From Wilco, it's Jeff Tweedy. Rachel Ray. Here's Claudia Schiffer. Country singer Joe D. Messina. And the first Tsar of Russia, Ivan the Terrible. Gene Simmons is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Wow, that is an all-star lineup of birthday buddies.
Do you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
Always.
See, that was another joke.
That's why Ace did all the drugs.
Yeah, it's not. Then what good of doing anything if you don't remember anything?
That's true.
So strange things happen to me. You know, it's life is what happens to you while you're busy making your so important plans. Out of the blue, the stylistics, you know, some of the best R&B.
Paula means I love you.
Yeah.
Means I love you.
Great.
That's a
great. Yes. Stylistic. They
Stylistics.
called out of the blue and want me to
I want
sing
some
and play
credit for
bass
that
with.
shit.
June 1st, I'm playing recording with them.
The Stylistics.
I said that first.
You did. Yeah. I may
Amazing.
get them and the Shy Lights mixed up sometimes.
Well, have you seen her, baby? Have you seen her?
Yeah. That's Shy Lights.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of those songs where in the middle he just stops and starts talking.
They also had.
He's like, I'm walking in the park,
girl.
man. I don't know what's going on, man.
The other Shy Light hit was, "Oh girl, if
I'll
you
be in trouble if you leave me now."
That's it.
I should join the band.
No, you shouldn't.
Come on.
June 1st, the recording.
Give me one of those fish that I
don't
drag a pencil across.
Well, first the glasses go.
I'll do the tambourine. Okay, I'll get rid of the
No,
glasses.
they don't have tambourines in the Shy Lights.
No, I'm going to do what Tracy from the
Cowbell. I know
Partridge
you
Family did.
want to play the cowbell. That's
I'll
what
play
you-
the cowbell.
Yeah.
That's right.
in another room.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, don't do no.
I'd
Don't.
be in trouble if you leave me now.
Don't let him do it.
'Cause I don't know.
Ouch.
And I don't know.
Oh! It's a good thing you're good looking,
La
because
la 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 sha la 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 means I love you.
Well,
oh, little girl.
kind
Oh
of.
yeah, I could do it. Come on, they put all those filters on and whatnot. Come on.
I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Katy Perry's leaving American Idol. I mean,
I was
think-
just on American Idol.
Yeah.
All right.
As a mentor, yeah. And as a matter of fact, I was on season 4 before you were born as a judge.
Wow. Season 4. What are they on now?
Crack.
That is a good one.
See, I'm quick. That's
What is what were we talking about? What's the Shy Lights hit? Is that Sha-la-la-la?
Oh, girl.
Oh, girl.
You mean
No.
mean stylistics?
Stylistics. Sorry.
Oh, Google and Schmoogle. They've got 20 major hits.
But I like the one where he talks in the middle of it. Where he's talking about. You said it already. We had it. Season 22 of American Idol, by the way.
Stop, look, listen. You are everything. Betcha by golly, wow.
Oh,
Betcha by golly, wow. You need some. You put some vibrato. Put some grease on it. Forever will my love for you keep growing strong.
Yeah.
Better if you sing falsetto. That's
Yeah,
the
you're
main-
right.
yeah.
I'll stay in that
Not
falsetto.
always.
I'm stone in love with you.
Great.
'Cause I'm stone in love with you.
Rubber Man.
Break up to make up.
Rubber Band. Wait, there's a Rubber Band man. That's different.
Yeah.
That's not them. That's the Spinners.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
He's right. It's the Spinners.
Point for Adam.
Shock one up.
Which used to be a compliment to a short girl.
The Rubber Band man.
Being a-
Spinners.
being a
That's
spinner.
right. Start the jam.
See what I just did there?
Yeah. Well, what was the band where the guy's talking and walking in the park? You said the song.
Oh, have you seen her?
Have you seen her? Tell
When
me.
he was walking with a deep voice, like Barry White.
And he's lonely and he's going in the
yeah.
park.
And he's trying to find out where his girl is. Have you seen her? She used to, I used
Right.
to walk around the park. Yeah.
People,
Girls
your girl
love
would
that.
leave you and you would just walk around looking for her. Back before cell phones, you had to hit the road, Jack. Like you had to.
You had to put
my
the-
woman
put the
left. All
footwork
right,
in.
I'm going to start walking. Do you think she went east or west? Because I'm walking.
Yeah.
And then he'd go through the park and he'd talk to people.
talk
Go like,
to
hey,
people,
have
yeah.
you seen
Have
her?
you
And
seen-
she'd be like, I don't know the fuck you're talking about. They're like, well, she left me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
and then
then some guys would say, I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Or maybe you ran into Gene. He's like, have I seen her? I banged
Well,
her.
those were the days.
Those were
my
the days.
friend.
Would you have thousands of women, Gene?
Yes.
And how do you get to that number? I know how.
You are delusional, you're arrogant, you're self-absorbed, and you...
I don't get it. I'm all those things.
Yeah,
I
you don't get
never
anything.
knew that
I would
number.
say most, let me just say, all guys are like that in their DNA, because you manufacture hundreds and hundreds of millions of sperm every day. You can't take Thursdays off. So either God, he just gave me a fist up in the air, or told me to fuck off. I don't know which one. Or maybe a combination. So either we're born predisposed to do the biblical spread thy seed. We're just doing God's work.
Would you have roadies and techs and people like that sort of pick the ladies out in the audience?
No.
No, you didn't. You did. That was you.
I was so, again, arrogant, self-possessed. I was a bad guy. I never treated anybody badly. It was just like living in a bakery and not caring about your diet or your waistline, just gorging on everything.
Well, why does that make you a bad guy?
Because there are people, women, who, my beloved Shannon, who gave me 2 kids. We've been together 41 years, but for the first 29 of those years, I was as bad as you can imagine. Just, fully. There was a marriage counselor who said, we actually have a term for that. It's a compartmentalization, a kind of you may be a decent guy and a good father and all this kind of stuff, but you think you've got your own room over there where you can do whatever you want without hurting anybody. But it doesn't work like that in real life.
How would you feel if she did some of that stuff?
I've often thought about that, and I think I'm a peculiar. Now, of course, we have the conscious and the unconscious self, so as far as I know, I'm so crazy about her that I wouldn't care. I mean, on an ego level, sure, but I would never leave her after sticking by my sorry ass for 29 years and giving me the best kids. If you ever met our kids, you'd understand what I mean.
No, I haven't met your kids, but your kid met Jimmy Page. Mm-hmm. That much I know.
Yes.
But I've not met your kids.
Both Sophie and Nick are they're much better human beings than either of us are, and that's the way it should be, by the way.
Yeah, but listen, I would sort of argue my kids are good too, but it's only because they don't have to tell people what to do all day and, run a business. And, it's easy to be nice when you're not
I have a reaction.
Having everyone to do.
And the reaction is that in these shark-infested waters here in Beverly Hills, because you're subjected to all the vices of mankind, womankind, transkind, and infinitum ad nauseum, it's very easy to go to the dark side.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Drugs, alcohol, lose your sense of what it all means, what's money, and all this kind of stuff. So to have 2 young people, and they're Sophie's 30, Nick is 33, no drugs, no alcohol, not even smoking, and they stay away from that stuff. Not just because I'll kick him out of the will, but that's another story. But in these waters, if you look around celebrities, everybody's been to the rehab and schmehab and all this stuff. And, of course, it's always an excuse. The dog ate my homework. I don't want to say the word depressed, but everybody's got an excuse.
Everyone's on the spectrum now.
I don't believe that.
I don't either.
No, I don't buy it. You're blessed to be born in Mount Sinai Hospital in Beverly fucking Hills. The least you could do is be gracious and kind to people and be a mensch and, stand up straight and understand how lucky you are and work with philanthropy, charity, go out of your... Sophie's got Sophie's House, which treats young people, specifically many of them young females who've been abused, raped, and all that. And that's her charity. She raises money for it, does all that. Nick goes to mendingkids.org, which treats free operations for poor kids who can't afford, all that stuff. So they're much better human beings than I will ever be.
Well,
and Shannon is
I
just
agree, but they have the luxury of being better than you. You grew up kind of hard scrabble.
Choice is the hardest thing in life because it's easy to make bad choices. It's easy to make bad. It's easy to eat cake 24 hours a day. It's really fucking hard not to. I'm living proof of it. I dream about cake, and do you dream about only vegetables? Is that what you dream?
No. For me, and it's kind of interesting because a lot of people have the sweet tooth. I have the carb tooth.
Same thing. The carbs turn into sweets.
Literally, if I make that chicken paprikash with no kettle, and I put a huge mound of that no kettle on my plate and slather it with the sauce, the chicken sauce over it, I'll go, this is way too much. I can't even finish this. And then I'll go eat it, and I'll walk right back into the kitchen. Like, it's time for round 2 because it's so damn good.
Bread and butter.
Yeah, it's really the carbs.
It is
the sugar. I can pass on it.
Sugar is just a compressed version of that. Carbs,
yeah, I know.
Carbs are sugar.
I should say I don't have the dessert thing that other people have.
But your body.
But I want my
knows
damn pasta.
But your body knows what to do with it.
Yeah, put it right on my hips.
That's right.
Not a spinner.
No comment, sir. That's jail talk.
We have you seen her, by the way? Which you know this one, Chris?
I don't think so.
You're gonna know.
Just
it's pretty damn slow.
Oh, but the instrumentation and the arrangement, genius.
Yeah, and I just like the part where he starts talking.
Okay.
Wait, are you gonna play with this band or is that the other band?
Stylistics.
I can't remember all of them. So how's that work?
Well, there's some great. There was a time when there were guys like Gamble and Huff, Philadelphia International Records, that had, oh my God, Teddy Pendergrass, Harold Melvin, and the Blue Notes, and they wrote and arranged all that stuff. There were the spinners and the stylistics and the moments. Mm-hmm. There was lots of great R&B music. In fact, Paul Stanley, the brother I never had, has a side band called Soul Station. Mm-hmm. And you can Google and schmoogle and all that, and he does amazing versions of these R&B classics, and he sings falsetto. You should play one.
He should have me in his band.
No.
He needs to be in a band.
As a matter of fact,
I need to be in a band.
You see the beautiful girl? I think I've got her right. See the beautiful girl over Paul's left shoulder? I think she's Jackie Wilson's daughter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I hope I don't get... Or maybe it's the gentleman on the right, on her left with the shades on. Yeah, I think it might be Jackie Wilson related. But you should play a little Soul Station. That's amazing stuff.
Wow.
Any track today.
Well, give me their tracks and let me pick one out because they're all covers, right?
Yes, except for 2 songs which Paul wrote, which sound like classic R&B stuff.
What are the covers? And then I'll tell you.
Oh, you'll recognize.
All right, my favorite of that era, pop, all time, "Tears of a Clown."
Oh,
That's
great.
the best.
Yeah, play it. Tracks of My Tears, they're all great.
Oh, okay. So we got "Ooh Baby Baby," and we got "Ooh Child, Things Are Gonna Get You." Oh, and we got
Ooh Child is very good.
I want to do "Could It Be I'm Falling in Love."
Sure.
That's with your baby. Oh, I should be in a band. Could it be? That's the Spinners. Spinners have great tracks. My Tears is great, but I'd say "Could It Be I'm Falling in Love."
Could it be I'm falling in love
with your baby?
That was good.
Oh,
that ripped up voice. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, because I meant it.
Got a little black in you.
Yeah.
Yeah. A guy named Leroy. Yeah. So.
And my hips move.
Yeah, my hips move.
All right, settle down.
All right, let's
Those guys, by the way, are all killer musicians. Some guys from American Idol and, musicians.
Must be the greatest gift ever is just music, right? I mean, the only job you've had since you're an adult. Chicks. Sorry, but the music gets the chicks.
To get them, yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
Money first.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're starving, you don't have any... No.
No, but if you're in a band, you can still get chicks even if you're not making money.
True, in the beginning. But the most beautiful ones will go with the successful number one guy. It's just life.
What was the biggest jump from Kiss, from clubs to arenas? Theaters?
Well, we started in 73, 74, 73, 74. See, that was another joke. And it just right place, right time, right thing. Before phones stopped rotaries, you have to go into a phone booth and do a rotary thing and put a coin in. Kids today have no idea what that was. Superman used to go into these phone booths and come out, from Clark Kent. So before phones, transistor radios were coming in, before voicemail existed, within a year and a half of starting off, we're headlining Anaheim Stadium. It just happened. There was no such thing as MTV or VH1, none of that. It just spread. And in those days, you spread via visuals, the magazines, Circus Magazine, Raves Magazine. Despite Rolling Stone not, connecting to that, that was different. That was like they were serious we were of the people, for the people, by the people kind of thing.
Rolling Stone seems like they'd always turn their nose up at a band like Kiss.
Well, that's okay. I was thinking of buying them.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, now my life's mission is to make chicken paprikash and no kettle and invite you over. I'd probably farm out the pastries. I don't think I would try that myself.
That's okay too. By the way, it's the kind of food, real people soul food, Irish stews, goulash, chicken paprikash, the poor people food where they spend a lot of time over the stove. Everybody loves. See,
the best, and we can't find it here.
The higher quality foods, the French, the rabbit's ass cooked in a thing with the fern, very few people actually like, snails. And I'm not going to put that in my mouth. But real hearty, the stuff that Grandma would slave over the stove, that's what everybody loves.
You
want to smell it all day and the spices and all that.
I agree. Do not sleep on the Hungarian. Gene Simmons Band, they're doing a European tour. It's probably all sold out, but there are other places you can go. You can shoot him a tweet and an Instagram, by the way, Gene Simmons.
What about our film company?
Oh, I want to talk about that. Sorry. Tell me about that. Rennie Harlan's involved?
Well, we have Simmons Hamilton. Right now, my partner's at the Cannes Film Festival selling the other projects. One upcoming one, which looks like it's going to happen, is Casablanca's working title about the supermodel guy had. Zac Efron wants to be Casablanca's. Uma Thurman said she's committed. But we have a finished film called Deep Water with Sir Ben Kingsley and Aaron Eckhart starring, and all-star cast and everything. Big budget, sort of thriller. Rennie Harlan directing. He did Avalanche with Stallone and Die Hard and all that stuff.
Oh, he did Cliffhanger.
That's right.
Yeah, he did all of them. He was just in here.
He's a great...
I love that guy.
He's very bright. And there's such a thing as committed to your art, if you know what I mean. And he grew up as a kid in Finland, Rennie did. And his opening to Americana was films. He lived it, breathed it. And he's like me in terms of the minutia of the stuff. He'll tell you lines from, quote, psalm and verse from every one of these films. And that's what it takes. You have to love the thing because it's hard. Making films is hard. We have a second one coming up. Deep Water is going to debut sometime around Christmas. Oh, there we go. See, a film by Rennie Harlan. That debuts in 3,000 movie theaters in America, not counting the rest of the world. And we just got word that China is approving 10,000 movie theaters in China alone.
Wow.
I mean, this is going to be a massive film.
Yeah. That obviously 10,000. I mean, the biggest you could open here in the States would be, 30. I think there's 4,200 theaters, someone said once. The most you could do is like 3,500.
It's bigger release than the vast majority of studio pictures.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I hope there's a premiere. I'll bring the Hungarian.
Yeah, and we have, moneybagvodka.com. But you can find out all about it. 10 times distilled, the finest vodka on the planet. We've already won awards and everything. Moneybag sodas, which are .com, of course. 5 flavors, only in glass. Only in glass bottles, no cans.
That's the way to go.
Real sugar, none of these chemical, crap.
Yeah,
there we go.
Awesome.
Go to moneybagsodas.com. And Moneybag Wine just debuted in Europe. So when I go there with the Gene Simmons Band, we'll promote that. And just much more that you don't have enough time for.
Something for you to not drink when you go to Europe. Gene Simmons, everybody. Always great to talk to you, my friend. I love the
Thank you for giving me the clap. I appreciate that.
That also means something else. Todd Rose, author and CEO, is going to be here, and we'll talk to him right after this. Cook Unity. Well, we all have our local restaurants we wish we could have at home, right? Think about that. The local place, so good. You wish you could just have it at home. Well, that's where Cook Unity comes in. First chef-to-you service delivering locally sourced meals to your door every week cheaper than delivery, so save some money. Go to cookunity.com/Adam or enter the code Adam before you check out for 50% off your first week. 50% off. One of the favorites they gave me was lemon rosemary chicken over Parmesan, mashed potatoes, and grilled asparagus. So good. Thought I was a steamed asparagus guy. Turns out, no. I like it grilled. No cooking required for a chef-quality dining experience right at your home. Unlike other meal services, Cook Unity is a chef collective. Every meal is handcrafted and made in local micro kitchens. And I hate to waste. Cook Unity arrives fresh in compostable containers or recyclable containers or reusable containers. And that'll keep fresh in the fridge for up to 7 days. Hundreds of dishes to choose from, and the menu is updated constantly. It's Cook Unity. Right, Dawson?
Experience chef-quality meals every week delivered right to your door. Go to cookunity.com/Adam or enter code Adam before checkout for 50% off your first week. That's 50% off your first week by using code Adam or going to cookunity.com/Adam.
Homes.com knows that when it comes to home shopping, it's never just about the house or condo. It's about the home. And what makes a home is more than just a house or property. It's the location. It's the neighborhood. If you have kids, it's also schools, nearby parks, transportation options, all the above. That's why Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring home shoppers the in-depth information they need to find the right home. And when I say in-depth, I'm talking about deep. That's right. Each listing features comprehensive information about the neighborhood, complete with a video guide. They also have details about local schools with test scores, state rankings, and student-to-teacher ratio. They even have an agent directory with the sales history of each agent. So when it comes to finding a home, not just a house, this is everything you need to know, all in one place. Homes.com. Homes.com. We've done your homework. Oh, Riley Auto Parts. Well, they're in the business of keeping your car on the road. Friendly, helpful service, and the parts people with the knowledge who know how to do maintenance and repair. It's so funny. I was just driving up in my old neighborhood the other day on Foothill Boulevard, and I saw the old O'Reilly I always used to go to when I lived in the neighborhood, and I was wrenching on my own car because I had to, because I couldn't afford a lease. I had to fix my own car. So they've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in store or online. You never have to worry. If you're in a jam, they got your part. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car, which is very helpful. And if it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right one for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, a brake light fixed, or a quick service? They'll help you find the right part, or they'll point you to the nearest local repair shop for help. Whether you're an auto aficionado or novice, O'Reilly employees are knowledgeable, helpful, and friendly. They're the professional parts people. So stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, man. Out here in Fresno. I just came to get my mail, and there's a notice out here. It says, attention customers, the mail is being held, and then it gives an address, and it says, due to bees. So apparently, mailmen can't deliver mail because there's bees outside. Fucking ridiculous. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
It used to be sleet and snow and, we shall deliver the mail. They had an edict, and it was no storm, no sleet, no snow, no hail. But now it's honeybees. Todd Rose is in the studios, an author, CEO. And he's got a book called Collective Illusions, Conformity, Complicity, and the Science of Why We Make Bad Decisions, and available wherever you find finer books. Good to see you, Todd.
You too.
I'm very interested in the subject because as a very pragmatic person, I've been saying for the last 10 years, what are we doing? Who signed off on all this crap? Why do we have to bring up the transgender movement every 10 minutes? I don't care. No one knows anybody who's transgender. How are all these bad ideas getting rammed down our throats, or defund the police, or whatever it is? Why are we running with bad ideas? Open the border, let the people in? You know what I mean? Like, and who's signing off on this, and why are we engaging in this behavior?
Well, look, you're hitting on something which is this idea of a collective illusion, which is a pretty new phenomenon at scale, is simply this. It's defined as a phenomenon where most people in a group go along with something they don't privately agree with,
yes,
because they incorrectly think that most everybody else agrees.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
Kind of crazy that this is happening, but we have in my think tank, we do what's called private opinion research. So no one's telling the truth right now.
Yes.
People feel like they have to self-silence or virtue signal to their tribe, right?
Yeah.
And so what's happened now is that basically we're misreading what the majority thinks.
Yes.
And we go along with something and we're making it true.
This is how we end up with passion fruit iced tea. People
Exactly.
think people like it. I'm like,
Nobody likes it.
Nobody likes
Nobody
it.
likes
We
it.
want
There's like two
iced
people.
tea. We want iced tea. So everyone likes passion fruit. They're like, no, they don't. I don't know. I talked to a lady once, as an old story, but I was on a flight once. God knows, I don't remember where, 25 years ago. And I'm sitting next to the woman who runs Nestle, and she runs Goobers and Raisinets. And I was like, tell me the sales of Goobers and Raisinets. And she goes, Raisinets outsell Goobers 10-1. And I go, why? I don't know. By the way, people tolerate raisins. They don't really like raisins. No one likes raisins. You just go, yeah, I'll let them be. You know, like for me, I feel the same way about Armenians. Like, look, I'm not going to do anything, but they're there. Just leave them be. You know what I mean? That's what they do with raisins. Why? And everyone loves chocolate-covered peanuts. There's nothing better than a chocolate-covered peanut. 10-1.
Absolutely.
Because of the name.
Yeah. So
one's called Goobers, not good name. The other's called Raisinets. Sounds like a good backup band that Gene could perform with. Gene Simmons and the Raisinets. I would buy a ticket to that. He does. Right. And so we go along with stuff, and stuff gets popular, and I don't even think we like it.
Well, and here's the thing. So up until the advent of social media, our biggest threat was groupthink, right? That the minority would go along just because the majority really wanted it. What we're facing now for the first time is a tyranny of the minority. Right. And let me tell you how it works, because I'm a neuroscientist by training originally, and every single human being has a conformity bias. It's not necessarily bad. We just, all else equal, would prefer to be with our groups, not against our groups. That's fine. Yeah. Survival. Okay, but here's the funny thing. For conformity to work, you actually have to know what your group thinks, or else what are you conforming to? And this is where it gets a little tricky. Your brain uses this really terrible shortcut to estimate what it thinks the group thinks. There's no kidding. Your brain assumes the loudest voices, repeated the most, are the majority.
Right.
Okay. So it must have worked at some point, right? But now put that into an era of social media, okay? So if you just look at the platform X when it was Twitter, we know from Pew Research that 80% of all content on that platform is created by only 10% of the users. Mm-hmm. And that 10% isn't remotely representative of the rest of the country. They are extreme on almost every social issue.
Right.
So so imagine this. Only 10% of Americans hold a view, but you think it's 80%?
Right.
So unless you're willing to go against your group, you'll say nothing, you'll self-silence, or if there's something to be gained for it, you'll virtue signal. You'll start lying about what you think.
Yes.
And pretty soon, the only voice anyone's hearing from is this very vocal fringe. And the result's a collective illusion. And we've got data, so do a lot of other people, showing right now in America, a vast majority of Americans, close to 60%, admit to self-silencing.
Oh, yeah.
Admit it.
Oh.
And that's the group that says that'll admit it, but it gets even worse, right?
But self-silencing, although it sounds very kind of insulated and singular, if you're going to get fired from your job for speaking out, then self-silencing sounds cowardly, but it's noble to your family.
Oh, for sure.
And so it's not just, I'm not speaking up because I'm weak and a coward.
Correct.
I'm not speaking up because I'm in an environment, if I was Jewish and bopping around Poland in 1942, I would be going, Jewish? Are you kidding me? I hate those people. And then you'd go, what a coward. It's like, yeah, but my kids are hiding under the house.
That's right. That's right. And I think you're
that's the insidious part of this whole thing is the consequences. We're not just voluntarily self-silently. We're being threatened into being silent.
That's right. And it goes even further, which is beyond the self-silence, which I agree with you completely about the strategic nature of that sometimes, and I'd do it too. It's when you get into this virtue signaling where you're like, what do I think we think? And I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Well, then now we're talking about Hollywood.
Yes, but exactly right. And the thing is once you start lying about your view, this becomes really bad because the very people who don't want something to happen are actively promoting it. So let me give you an example. I'm like, unfortunately, we could be here for 4 hours going through all the collective illusions that we know about in American society today. But let's take, you brought this up, the defund the police movement. Okay, a couple of years ago, we spent some time with the Biden administration on this. Got one win off of it, which is 2 years ago, roughly 60% of Democrats publicly said they were in favor of defunding the police, depending on the poll you looked at. Okay.
2 years ago, 60%.
Yeah. They were like, oh, of course, right? Because there was a right answer, right? Okay.
Yeah.
In private, it was 9%.
Right.
9%. Okay,
Yes.
but then look what happened in San Francisco, in Portland, where you implement policies that you think people want that are catastrophically bad, and we're now undoing those things. And it would be bad enough if a majority of people actually wanted that. It was still a dumb idea.
Right.
It's tragic when no one actually wanted it, and we're still doing it.
No, this is... look, there's versions of this, every movie set, every TV show I've been on, when they do the lunch run for the crew and the cast and everything else, there's always like 10 brisket sandwiches, 10 turkey sandwiches, and 10 veggie lover sandwiches. And I'm like, there's nobody here who wants this sandwich. And by the way, it's bread with a piece of wilted lettuce and a bleeding out tomato. Nobody wants it. Even the veggie people don't want it. But you know what? There's no vegetarians on this crew. It's like, we need the sandwiches. We got to spread it equally. Yeah. And I'm like, but don't do it. Why? Yeah. Why are you doing this? Because that's what we need to represent, the people who want the vegetarian sandwiches. I'm like, yeah, but I just turn around and all the beef dip's gone.
Right.
And now they're taking the veggie one apart. They're stealing cheese from something else. They're trying to cobble together like a prison sandwich. I'm like, but don't do it if nobody wants it. And they're like, we're doing it.
And it's bad enough when it's sandwiches, right? Now, what happens when it's fundamental principles in a free society, right? When it's literally foundational beliefs about how we're going to live together and what we aspire to as people. When those things start falling under collective illusions, and it's not that we just self-silence, but that we start going along with things that we don't really agree with, the end results can be catastrophic. And I'll tell you, so we have more private opinion data on the American public than any organization. And here's what I can tell you for sure. Every single demographic is outright lying about multiple issues. Different issues, right? Depending on your persuasion and your age. But democracies can't function when we're not being honest with each other.
Yeah. Well, okay. It's sad. I mean, we're going to have to reintroduce something called character because that prevents people from lying all the time.
That, right?
And most people's number one trait is they're cowards. Everyone is scared. And they're all scared. And as I said, semi-rightfully so, because they're trying to protect something, trying to hang on to something and not lose something.
Is you can excuse it. The lying, you're just trying to curry favor, right?
Oh.
Or you're trying to avoid, But
yes.
But this is why I wanted to talk to you because, and not to toot your horn too much, but I think you've been standing and saying this for a while now.
I've said everything all the time, every day, into a microphone.
And I think what you stand for, and what I think we need to get back to is, it doesn't mean you're right? But we know where you stand,
Yes.
Right? I mean,
I am right. But yeah, I do know where I stand. I stand on being right.
At least half the time.
I'm never
right?
wrong. But because I never look at data and I don't lick my finger and I just know what is.
That's right.
And you'll know what is. I knew COVID didn't hurt kids because I live in a neighborhood with tons of kids and none of them died.
Yeah. And by the way, with that, we have data on, this was during the end of COVID, a majority of Americans, Democrats and Republicans, said masks don't work in private.
Oh, in private.
In private.
Right.
Mm-hmm. In public, Democrats were like, no, of course they work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing is here's the thing. I'm picking on Democrats right now.
I'm picturing every commercial flight I went on during COVID where I got screamed at 35 times. That's where we pushed back.
Yes.
With the mask.
We're just like, you got to be kidding me.
I told my son, I said, you got to wear a mask in class, right? I said, yeah. You got to wear it at school. I said, yeah. I said, if you don't have a teacher and an administrator telling you to pull your mask back up at least 15 times a day, you're dead to me. I look at you as a failure as a son. I want that mask around your chin at all times. And I want you to be told all day, every day to pull it back up. And I want to get notes from the administration saying that your son will not pull his mask up. Otherwise, I failed as a father.
Amen. Right. And so here's the thing. I wanted to be clear. I'm picking on Democrats there, but these collective illusions and the outright lying is an equal opportunity problem right now. So if you look at the right, here's the dirty truth, and I'm sure you know it. Look, publicly, most Republicans have said, of course the election was stolen, right? It's 14% in private. But like, listen, in identity politics, if Gallup calls you and you're a Republican, and they're like, do you think the election was stolen from Donald Trump? There is a right answer.
The problem with the stealing of the election, which I never understood with Trump, is he's getting into Dominion and ballot harvesting and stuff like that. He should have gotten into the 51 CIA, security experts and FBI experts who all signed a declaration to say Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. That's the stealing of the election was X, or before that Twitter and the New York Times, and pulling down articles and having security experts sign a document that said this thing that was real was fake. Yeah. That's where the tampering came in.
Yeah, so the tampering,
and it may have been at the ballot box as well, but it's not as provable. This is more provable.
And here's the thing. This is why, for me, collective illusions is important for people to understand, because why would you not know you can't trust your brain to tell you what your group thinks anymore? Why would I believe that? And I think that the biggest issue that facing America, and it will face it in the election again, is that the nature of propaganda and manipulation has changed. It's no longer just disinformation. It's stupidly simple to manufacture a false consensus through social media. So Russia, China, Venezuela, Iran use massive amounts of bots to manipulate, find fringe views, amplify them, through retweeting and stuff, and give the impression that this is what we believe. Yeah. This happened after October 7th. I went to Israel 7 weeks after because the Israeli government was like, what is going on with American youth? You remember the poll that said 60% of, roughly 60% of Gen Z said Hamas was justified?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. It's not even close in private.
Oh, in private.
It's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah, no, obviously, look, anytime someone is out protesting something and then some news crew shows up and puts a microphone in their face and they go, I don't want to talk to you, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Because when you're protesting something, if I was out protesting red turn arrows in the city of Los Angeles when the light is green and the arrow's red, and KTLA News put a microphone in front of my face, I'd be talking for 3 hours with spittle coming out of my mouth, screaming, dropping names, dropping F-bombs. I would be like, hey, I don't have a comment. That's right. You don't have a comment on the thing you're protesting against? I thought that's what protesting was. You should want all the coverage you can. And it's the same thing I used to say. It's like, hey, Fauci, who's not getting vaccinated? The stupid Fox viewers, the shit-kicking, knuckle-dragging, pickup truck driving, gun clinging, Bible thumping, Fox viewers are, okay, puss, go on Fox.
That's right.
Oh, I'm not going on Fox. Yeah. Well, why not?
Who are you talking to?
You are science, and they're not getting vaccinated. So go on there and tell the dumb people why they should get vaccinated. Oh, you're not going on.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's interesting. They have a bigger audience than MSNBC, but you won't share your message with them.
Something's
Something's wrong now.
Yep.
Now I'm questioning you.
And so the thing is like, why I wrote the book and why we do the work we do is unless we understand the threat we're facing now as Americans and that we're complicit in it in some way, we will get taken down as a country from inside out.
I know, but I do not know. It's sort of, all right, let me liken it to this, and then you can tell me. I have said there is no more escaping the fast food industry and big pharma and all the additives and all the seed oils and all the preservatives and all the processed whatever. There's no amount of we're going to clean it up because there's Wendy's is open 24/7 and it's $1.99 to get a jumbo chicken sandwich. You're just going to have to educate your kids.
Yeah.
You have to go, look,
yeah.
I want Wendy's too. But I'm not. I'm going to keep driving. I'm going to go home. I have to deputize everyone to be a smart person, their own dietitian, their own therapist, and their own news agency now. And I cannot fight this tidal wave of 24/7 delivered to your house, stuffed crust pizza, $7.99 for one the size of a wagon wheel that'll be dropped off at your house, and your $3 tip is going to go back to you for your next purchase of your next wagon wheel of carbs. We have to educate ourselves.
That's right.
And you idiots cannot believe all of the nonsense. When you start, you just take some baseline stuff. Like you go, COVID origins. Well, they have a wet market, and then they have a lab that's funded by us and the Chinese government, and they work on these kinds of viruses, and that's up the road. But there's no chance it came from the lab. You have to stop at that point as a human being.
Yeah.
And this is like saying, no, eat the Weight Watchers fudge. It's good for you. You have to go, fudge is good? Yeah, it's Weight Watchers.
Weight Watchers.
I'm stopping. I'm going to stop and go, there seems like there's a very likely chance that it may have come from the lab that does this kind of research.
Yeah.
That's on everybody. And we're going to have a big problem if people can't figure that one out.
That's right. And so here's the thing.
Sorry if I got animated.
No, this is good. I think it's a good comparable. Right? Here's the good news about collective illusions is while they're destructive if you leave them in place, they're fragile because they're lies.
Yes.
And if we respond the right way, history shows you can shatter these and unlock a kind of change that just would be unimaginable. But, and this is what I want to say, and this is why it matters that each of us have a role to play, the strategy when it's an illusion is very different than when it's actual private opinion you're trying to change. So if you try to persuade someone under an illusion, you'll entrench the illusion. Let me give you my favorite example of this. Remember the Say No to Drugs campaign?
Yes. Okay. Nancy Reagan, I guess.
Okay, listen. That all started because the government saw a slight uptick in first-time drug use amongst teens, okay? Mm-hmm. So they get about $1 billion, the best ad agencies in the country, and this incredible ad campaign where the typical American teen saw 3 ads a day for 6 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty effective. So it's actually, from an advertising standpoint, it was amazing.
Yeah, if you were advertising an amusement park or soda, it would be huge.
You would have won awards for that. Now, here's the problem. The government assumed that the reason kids were trying drugs is that they were interested in drugs. Mm-hmm. But private opinion data existed back then that showed that wasn't true. They were skeptical of drugs. What they wanted was what every teen has always wanted, which is to fit in. And this is probably my favorite collective illusion ever. Back then, most American teens believed that most American teens did drugs, which is kind of awesome if you think about like school after school, membership is high. Okay, into that collective illusion, you blitz these kids with $1 billion of ads trying to scare them straight. What they took from the ads was, this must be what we're doing, because why would adults try so hard to get us to stop?
Right.
And research has pretty conclusively shown that campaign directly led to an increase in drug use. Right. So this is what I mean by the strategy really matters. It's not persuasion, it's social proof. Meaning you got to just, like in your circles of influence, in your neighborhood, in your churches, in your places of employment, you got to be honest. And there's a way to do it. You don't have to put yourself, die on a hill for something, but you got to be honest. And if you get that right, there's a bunch of examples throughout history where things change in a hurry. And I can give you my absolute favorite one.
Please.
Okay, I'm a reformed academic, so you got to bear with me, but the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia is to this day an anomaly in all revolutions because it's the only time where a people overthrew a communist authoritarian government without anybody losing their life.
Also sounds like a great name for a band, right?
Well, trademark, right?
Yeah, Velvet Revolution.
The Velvet. Why didn't I think of that? See, this is why I'm here and you're here. But so here's the thing. The Velvet Revolution, what's so fascinating is it was led by Václav Havel, no, not a military guy, not even a politician at the time. He was a poet and a playwright.
Wow.
And he wrote this satire of communism called The Garden Party. And it had to be so subtle that the Soviet censors didn't even know they were being made fun of. So he puts it on. It becomes a runaway hit, like the Hamilton of its time, sold out every time it's put on. So Havel is watching the crowd every night. And he said, they laughed at all the right parts. They laughed at things you would not find funny if you actually believed in communism. So he realizes the problem isn't that people in Czechoslovakia believe in communism, they just think we all do. And so he writes, and it's free to download, I would recommend, it's amazing. He wrote a manifesto called The Power of the Powerless, where he lays out this discovery that the illusion at the heart of Soviet control, Czechoslovakia. And he said, look, if the problem is the illusion, then no amount of force is going to do this, right? You've got to get people away from living in the lie, which they got comfortable with, and get back to living in truth. And he builds this, what he called small works, just little things, not political, like literally like literary magazines so people could publish their poetry. And he's like slowly building up the muscle of people getting back to living in truth. And here's what's amazing. Nobody saw the Velvet Revolution coming. Nobody. The CIA missed it. The KGB missed it. Even Havel was shocked by it. Like 3 months before the student protests happened that toppled the government, Havel's interviewed in an international magazine, and he said, look, I'm in it for the whole revolution, but revolutions take time. Like, just be clear, I probably won't be alive to see the victory. 3 months later, he's the first democratically elected president of a free Czechoslovakia.
Wow.
So I look at that and I say, look, if a poet can overthrow communism, think what we can do as Americans right now, because we are sitting on the precipice, right, of what feels like real polarization everywhere we turn. And if you're like me, coming out of COVID, I felt like, am I crazy, or did the whole country go crazy overnight? It just felt like the wheels fell off.
Yeah, well, my saying, which I'm sticking with, is I didn't learn anything about diseases, especially I learned nothing really about COVID or airborne diseases or how they work, but I learned a lot about people fast, and it scared me.
And how tribal we can get.
I had no idea that we could descend into this as fast as we got into this. And I also was always kind of under the illusion that this stuff was for ancient civilizations, people without degrees or education, people that are limited with their language, people that hadn't read books. These were not civilized people, and educated people wouldn't go this hard, this fast down the road of wrong and try to take you with them. I had no idea. And I also had no idea what politicians were up to. I didn't know about their thirst for power. I didn't know that they would shut everything down. Even, Gavin Newsom shut down outdoor dining with no proof whatsoever.
Except for his parties, right?
Well, when he went to go to the French Laundry with 35 of his closest friends.
So you're saying power corrupts, right? And
well, I mean, power corrupts, but cops have guns, but we hope they're not dying to use them every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I got this thing now and I can use it. And all of a sudden, COVID came around and told assholes like Gavin Newsom, you want to use that gun? Have at it, man. Because this is the perfect excuse.
You said something, and I think it's really important about, you sort of assumed that an educated populace would be a little more immune to this kind of ancient sort of tribal behavior. Here's the thing. In our research,
now we know.
Here's the thing. We have the data to back this up.
Well, by the way, the educated were the worst in this group.
But this is it. So in terms of who's lying about things, the best predictor of whether you're lying is how much education you have.
No,
It's kind of crazy.
All the guys I wrenched on cars with and swung a hammer with, they were not affected by any of this at all.
Yeah.
And didn't propagandize or lie or anything.
By the way, this has nothing to do with the thing, but I love the Lamborghini out there.
It's Mark Garrigas's, but I sold it to him.
It was interesting.
Yeah. So, yes, and this is scary. And then it also, I end up doing a lot of head scratching going, what? I don't even know what they're talking about. Like, I don't know what Joe Biden is talking about half the time. Like, I was listening to his Morehouse speech, and he was like, you're going to vote in Atlanta. You can't get any water. What's up with that? I don't even know what that is. And it's like, you're not, first off, you can bring your own water, Joe. Like, if like, when you go to Disneyland and in Florida, Disney World in Florida, and it's hot, and you're standing in line to go to Epcot Center, nobody hands you bottles of water. You just stand in line. Now, you probably like to bring your own water, or I don't know, how physically taxing did voting become? Like, you're standing in line. You're not,
but of course,
you're not
it's not the point, right?
No, it's not the point, but I don't know what
right?
he's talking. I know he doesn't know what he's talking about, and I'm not sure if he knows his point. What I'm saying is why are people nodding their head?
Because when you look at politics right now, it is absolutely identity politics. So, for example, research shows we're not even arguing over policies. Democrats and Republicans hate each other, and they don't really know why. And so it gets to this point where it's like, as long as you lose, I win.
Yes, I get it. What I'm saying is, Trump, you can he says drill baby drill, and we're going to be energy independent. And I go, all right, that's what he wants to do. And I go, all right, gas is $6 a gallon in California. I wouldn't mind if it was $3 a gallon in California. But, I do have an electric car as well as an internal combustion car. So, look, I'm halfway down with the movement. But, I can tell you the electric car is a little bit of a pain in the ass. The infrastructure and the system is not where it needs to be. Whatever. Like, I'm fine with it. But I know exactly what Trump wants. He wants more domestic oil production, and he wants to drill. Okay, that's what he wants.
Yeah.
I don't know what Joe Biden wants when he's talking about lines in Georgia. I looked it up, by the way. You think everyone in Atlanta is black. Atlanta is 47.7% black. So there's more white people hanging out with no water. But also, the rule isn't you're not allowed to drink water. The rule is we're not allowed to talk to you about stuff as you're casting your vote. So, but if you like to bring your own water, like everyone does now, feel free. I don't know what the fuck he's talking
that's
about.
Fair enough.
But I know what he's pandering to.
I'm even more jaded than you are, which is I see the two candidates we have as a product of us not being honest with each other. Nobody really wants this. And Trump, whatever else he is, like, he wanted to ban TikTok until he didn't.
Right.
So I don't think he's as clean on being straight with this. But
he may be flip-flopping and full of shit. But at least he's saying what it is.
We all kind of know
it's Joe, I don't really know what he's talking about most of the time.
And that's fair. And it's like, nobody wants this, but no one's willing to just really speak up. And so we keep playing along.
I get, I don't, and I think I've been pretty consistent on this. I don't really blame politicians where, it's 2008 or 2010 and you say to Obama, you're for gay marriage, you're against gay marriage. And he licks his finger and he puts it in the air and he goes, well, what's everyone else for? And I go, well, most Americans don't really want gay marriage. And you go, all right, well, then I don't want gay marriage. Like, that's part of being a politician. Like, I do understand. And then at some point, somebody taps him on the shoulder and goes, it turns out we like gay marriage. And go, oh, okay, so now I like gay marriage. Like, yeah, you do. They do that. That happens all the time, and I kind of get it. It's a very rare politician who goes, "I'm sorry if this is unpopular, but I'm taking this.
Right.
I'm taking this stance." I'm kind of okay with that aspect of it. But what Joe Biden does is nonsensical to me. I don't even know what he's talking about.
Right? Like,
I guess
at the end of the
just
day,
old.
Here's the thing: the two groups in America that are the most susceptible to collective illusions, politicians. Because look, at the end of the day, I want to get reelected. So if I'm trying to pay attention. What do my constituents want? The number of senators and congresspeople that I meet with one-on-one to try to listen, this is what your constituency really wants. They're like, well, I don't know, man. Like, I get calls all the time. Like, you got 12 calls, right?
Oh.
Loudest voices repeated the most.
I used to work for a radio station. I get 2 letters. You got 2 million people listening. You get 2 stupid letters, and we're going to alter course.
Right.
You know what I would yell all the time? Sorry for cutting off.
No, please.
I would yell at the program director, okay, you got 2 letters, and then there's another million people didn't write letters. What about them?
Yeah.
What if they want something that's funnier? Now we're dumbing it down or we're changing it because of these 2 people. Everyone's always like, we don't want to offend the 2 people. I go, what about offending the other people who are being affected by those 2 people?
Well, and the second group, which I think is kind of funny, is CEOs.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's where it comes from.
What do my customers want? What do my employees want? And they don't understand that it's like, oh, no. Let's take, for example, CEOs speaking out on controversial issues. Our private opinion data is crystal clear. Literally nobody wants it. There is no demographic group that privately wants them speking out.
Right.
And yet they're like, no, I'm certain that I'm supposed to. And I take these stance. And what's funny is, and I won't name names, but it's like, they'll be like, I don't really believe it, but, I'm going to get out ahead of this. And you're like, well, good for you. And, I do think that we're starting to see some green shoots here, though, right? So you think about Netflix. Well, it cost them about 250,000 subscribers until they were like, okay, wait a minute. You're going to have to work on stuff that you don't agree with. Right? Now they're back. I thought that Speaker Johnson, whatever you think of the politics, finally called the paper tiger what it is. Right?
Right.
Now we're going to go ahead and put this out to vote, and you're not going to get rid of me. And turns out they didn't.
Yeah, we're going to need more than that. It's going to take more than that. And I agree. I don't even know. I don't know why the NFL has to weigh in on a commencement speech. I just yell all the time, just shut up. Don't weigh in. Who cares? It's like, our policy, you have no policy.
You have no
policy is big guys running into each other and you getting paid. That's your policy.
And I love it, by the way.
I love it. I love it too, but I don't need
But again,
the foundation of whatever stupid fakakta company is explaining to me who they are. It drives me nuts. You know what I said? You can put this in your next book. Or maybe I put it in one of my books, so you'd be plagiarizing.
No, you already promised me.
But
you promised me now.
You watch these stupid Subaru commercials, and it's a biracial couple, and all their dogs they're rescuing and stuff. And I looked it up. Subaru makes attack helicopters for the Japanese military as well. So what is it, Subaru? What do you make? What do you do? You make helicopters that fire missiles that kill people. That's what you do.
Run on
but our
love.
dogs would run on puppy love. It's like, okay, you're so full of shit, Subaru.
and so here's what I'd say, though, for your audience, which is this can feel like this is all bad. This is a problem. Someone needs to solve this. The best thing about collective illusions is that because the people are the ones that are upholding it, we have a role to play. And it's not that you have to go and, again, die on some hill and do things. But if you just think about every time you lie about what you think because you're like, well, I know this is what the group thinks and I'll get all kinds of approval, you're probably wrong. Like, you're probably wrong and you're literally making this true, right? And so if you just think about the way out of this is not, I don't need a politician to save us. I don't need a CEO to save us. We start being honest in our families, in our communities, right? And we get back to some basic liberal values like openness. I know that sounds simple.
I'm going to start. I don't like your sweater.
I didn't like his sweater either. I didn't want to say it.
He's a V-neck guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Why is he doing a crew neck?
I was going to say, my late grandmother gave this to me. It meant a lot to her.
You're a V-neck guy. Crew neck's not.
I know I complimented you on your sweater earlier, but
it was a lie.
That's part of the collective illusion.
That's fair enough. So when I come back, I will not be wearing this.
No, listen. It's all up to the people, and we have the power. As we do with most everything, yet there's a kind of a narcissism. Like, I'll have people come in here, and some of them, their career. Here's what it is. Here's what I'm going to try to be kind. I'll have people come in, and they'll be like a comedian. And the comedian is like not a household name, is not getting a sitcom, is not going to get a Netflix special. But you ask them to weigh in on some subject, and they'll go like, "Oh, hey, man." But it's like you're trying to protect some career that doesn't really exist. But it's everyone's impulse. Like when people will talk, they talk like they would talk about family members and friends like they were hanging on their every word. Like, and it's weird. Like sometimes you'll hear people interview and they'll go like, well, my mom's they'll go, but I come from a very mixed family. Like one of my parents is very progressive and the other is very conservative. And then you'll hear the person go, oh, who is your mom conservative? I don't want to throw them under the bus. And it's like, first off, they're dead. Secondly, they're not listening. Thirdly, who cares? Fourthly, so what? Your mom's progressive and your dad's conservative. Is that throwing them under the bus? Like, why do you think we're hanging on your every opinion, you idiot? We've tuned you out. We're thinking about our own opinions.
Right. That's right. So, look, at the end of the day, there's a way out of this. It doesn't take incredible effort. I do think at the end of the day, you got to find some moral courage to be honest with the people that matter to you. And you got to have the civic courage to make it safe for people to be open about their views, even when you don't agree with them.
All right. There's another one. This will be helpful.
If it's about my sweater or my jeans, I don't think I can take that kind of hit again.
No, it's the socks. No. Listen, if you feel something and you think you're right, then you're allowed to say it. And we're living in a society where people are like, you got to walk that shit back. And I'm like, I'm not walking anything back because I'm right.
And by the way, when does that ever end well?
It never ends well. No, I was on Hannity, I don't know, a year and a half ago or something. And I said, AOC, if she was fat and in her 60s and from Minnesota, no one would ever listen to a goddamn word she said. And then at some point, people are like, hey, you got to walk that back. And I'm like, oh, I'm not walking back something that's true. I mean, and it's like, well, it could be hurtful. It's like, it's still true. You know what I mean? Like, hey, oncologist came in and said you have breast cancer. Walk that shit back. It's like not walking back what is true. Yeah. And also, everyone who heard it knows it's true. That's why they want me to walk it.
And the thing is even if they disagree with it, it's really important, right? Which is sometimes your opinion is in the minority. And that's not actually bad. That's where innovation comes from. That's where change comes from. So when we create a society where we are forcing each other to conform around these phantom things that no one really wants.
We get passion fruit iced tea.
That's all I'm asking for.
If
we can just get that banned, the book will have been worth it.
I can't tell you like how many people. I'm sorry, I'm bringing everything back to food, but it's the same thing. It's like,
you hungry?
I'm getting peckish. Okay. Yeah, they get
veggie sandwich.
Every set has the bowl of smoked almonds, and then they got the cashews, and then at some point they got the trail mix. And nobody wants the trail mix. They always eat everything first, and then they get to the trail mix and they start picking out what they want from the trail mix. So they start picking the M&Ms and the peanuts out, and the sunflower seeds, and the weird little date farts, little cat shit date things are falling to the bottom and stuff. But they always buy a new sack of trail mix. Like, they always do it. And I'm always yelling at everyone, don't do it. Nobody wants this. People don't want it. And they go, no, we're buying it. And because they have some thought, there's also a flawed thought, which is like, if I said 2 + 2 is 4, and you said 2 + 2 is 6, and Chris said 2 + 2 was 8, somebody would come in and go, let's just agree it's 6 and meet in the middle.
Right.
We're just keep the peace.
Let's compromise.
We're just going to compromise. 2 + 2 is 6. Can we get on with it? Right. And I'm like, no, we can't.
No.
It's wrong. Why are you causing trouble? It's like, we agreed to meet in the middle. You thought it was 8. I thought it was 4. You said it was 6. Let's go with 6. And it's an insane that we do that, and more people need to pipe up and go, no, this doesn't make sense.
Well, and what's funny is in our research, the American public does not want unity because they see it as false consensus and compromise.
Oh, really?
What they want is respect. It's like, listen, we can disagree. We don't have to be disagreeable. And this is the good news, right? Like, we can get out of this. We really can. And you know, but if we don't realize what the real problem is, right, that we're being manipulated by a tyranny of the minority, and our conformity bias is literally leading us down a path of destruction, then this is not going to end well.
Well, there's also a bit of a problem with authority and experience that we're having a big problem with, which is I'll have people go, all right, well, turned out you're right about COVID, but you're wrong about all this race stuff. And I'll go, really? You don't think I'm going to be right about this shit too? And they go, nope, this is what you're wrong about. Now, it was 3 years of me telling you you're wrong about this other thing that you turned out to be right about. But now we're at zero for the next one. I'm like, well, maybe I'm the guy who knows stuff. You ever think about that? Nope. We're right back to zero.
Sketch has been shaken.
There's no, and Dr. Drew would have people telling him his business, and there's no expertise anymore. There's no authority. How about experience?
Yeah.
Just, hey, kid, you're 17. I've been on this planet a lot longer than you, and I've seen a lot more than you've seen, and I have something called experience, and that's why I'm telling you this.
And I think what you're getting at, though, is what we're seeing in the public as well is it's the end of compliance culture, and I think that's not bad, right? People are fed up being told what to do because it's like, look, if the government, these people that are so-called experts that are just credentialed, right? Like that turns out they're the gang that can't shoot straight.
I think you get to be. I will take your title seriously. So you're telling me you were Heisman Trophy winner at the position of quarterback 3 years ago, and I go, wow, that's impressive, and I believe you. Now here's a football.
Yeah.
Let me see you throw it.
Exactly.
Oh, you just threw it, and you hit that cat that was 4 feet in front of you. Didn't even. Oh, you can't throw a football. Okay, now I don't. Now, sorry, I'm going to rescind this
so the
title.
Proof's in the pudding at the end
Rochelle
of the day.
Walensky, you're the head of the CDC. Fine. You're flip-flopping on everything. You're making up stories about your kids not being able to go to summer camp. Oh, now you're lying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so now I'm going to take your credential and we're going to flush it down the toilet because you're lying.
And that's the problem, is that in reaction to the sort of paternalism and these people who've been controlling our lives, we're sort of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because real experience, there is such thing as expertise, right?
Sure.
And it's developed and it's proven, and we can't just turn a blind eye to that and just be like, well, now nobody knows anything.
I became a carpenter just because I hung out with older guys named Russ, and they'd tell you what to do. That's all they ever did was you show up there, you're not doing it wrong, you're doing it. Here's a guy was an expert. They have expertise, and you listen to them, and then they would pass it along to you. And now no one listens to me.
That's right.
But I would listen to them.
Well, I'll tell you one thing is that I'd love to come back and talk to you about this eventually, which is we've got coming out in about 6 weeks or so, the largest study ever of the most controversial issues in American society. What people say publicly.
What are they?
We got 68 of them. They range from literally everything from Israel and anti-Semitism to transgender stuff to abort, like the stuff that we're like rapidly fighting over.
Israel, I mean, where can we rank the rhetoric and the whatever? Is it Israel? Is it COVID? Is it Black Lives Matter?
Well, we're going to find out.
The police?
That's the thing is, so because what I think is important is laying bare, like you just show it. Here's what people say publicly. Here's where they are privately. Here's what they think everybody thinks. And then we can have a conversation.
Well, there is one more strata to this, which is bizarre, and it takes a lot of chutzpah and hubris. We're now at the phase, and we've been through the phase, where the people who've been disingenuous, maybe to the point of lying, and God knows, I don't even know all their motivations, but who lied us all the way through COVID, now would like to start ministries of truth, so they won't believe my disinformation or Alex Berenson's misinformation. It's like, oh, you guys are going to start the ministry of truth.
Like Orwellian,
It's Orwellian in that what you need to do right now is hang your head and then get a whip out and flog yourself until I tell you you're done, and you need to shut the fuck up about anything else you have an idea about for at least 3 years. But instead, you've got a better idea. You're going to form a ministry of truth, and then they're going to go after guys like me who've been right.
You remember when they said, like,
oh,
we're proposing maybe being able to edit people's Twitter?
Right.
Right. Wait, why do you think you know? Right? Like the answer
this is like, we're for free speech on colleges. We just don't want to hear this Ben Shapiro guy. It's like, you're not for free speech then. You can't announce you're for everything and then shut everything down.
That's right. And that's, again, the best news of all is this isn't rocket science. The way out is we understand basic principles like free speech and tolerance and openness. And I can promise you the vast majority of Americans privately still care about that. They just don't believe that most Americans care about it.
Yeah, and everybody is living And religion is on the way out. So we're not dealing with someone judging us in the next life, and we're not dealing with down the road. We're dealing with sort of here and now. And it's like, I got a job, I want to keep it, and I will either shut my mouth up or I'll start crowing about stuff, whatever seems like the boss is going to want to hear. Yeah. And that's how you get to where we are.
Yeah.
Sad.
And this is why our work with like CEOs showing them, they don't want to take these stands. They think they have to, but when they take the stand, everybody else falls in line. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so it's like, there's things we can do there. But
I mean, listen, they took the Major League Baseball All-Star Game out of Atlanta and moved it to Denver. There are all these guys making all these stupid proclamations about stuff but you got to wait in line with no water. They're insane. And you do have to wonder, I wonder, how do you climb the ladder and get to be the CEO of Nabisco and be a fucking idiot at the same time? Where it's like someone just goes, Stan, shut your mouth. No one needs Nabisco to weigh in on Black Lives Matter. Just keep, one's going to ask you.
But again, remember, the amount of education you have correlates with how much you're lying. And look, I was a professor for 12 years at a reasonably, or used to be prestigious university. I sold high on the brand, is what I like to say. Yeah.
On Harvard?
Yes.
Yeah.
right before COVID got out. A lot of wonderful people, but the thing is that at the end of the day, the way we're educating people is indoctrination. We're not teaching them to think for themselves. And so they learn pretty quickly there's a right thing to say, and if you say it, you move through the ranks. You get hired into jobs.
Yeah, no, it's a perfect system for indoctrination, and it's going to be up to everyone to say something.
And by the way, the role of college in private opinion now has completely collapsed. Yes. Completely collapsed. It used to be core to the American dream, core to people's views of success. In our own research, it is now a bottom-dwelling priority. People actually, the general public now perceives getting a skilled trade, like carpentry, HVAC, as more tied to success than going to college.
Listen, couldn't happen to a worse group. They torpedoed their own brand.
They did.
They did the same thing Bud Light just got done doing. They just completely destroyed their brand, this multi-trillion-dollar industry, essentially, and they cut their stock in half in the last 20 minutes, and good on them. Yeah. They deserve everything they get for their hubris.
When all you had was status...
That's right.
It's a false scarcity sort of Louis Vuitton model of quality.
Well, a Louis Vuitton purse
at least
is not worth anything more than an $18 purse is, but it's status.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. So
they're selling status, and when you just torpedoed your brand.
Right. You're selling status. Yes. That's right. And now you have none.
Now you have none.
All right, Todd, let me give you a plug. Collective, Illusions, Conformity, Complicity, and the Science of Why We Make Bad Decisions, available wherever you find finer books. Gene Simmons, everybody. Yeah, gotta love that guy. Irvine, tomorrow, me and Brad Williams doing some shows there. Couple of tickets left. And hey, you go to adamcarolla.com for all the live shows. Shoot Todd a tweet and Instagram at @LToddRose as well. Great to see you, my friend.
You too.
Until next time, Sam, for Todd and Gene and Chris saying mahalo.